So nice to not be an orphan.
Yeah, getting adopted was the best decision I ever made. Why do you think Rich Daddy Starbucks adopted us?
Your tiny wrists. Our tiny wrists.
If you haven't yet, go watch the most recent episode of Ladies First, wherein we presented as orphans.
We're about to read chapter 10, which first of all, I'd like to remark that we're getting kind of close to the end of this. So really start casting your votes for what we should read next. I'm wondering if we should deviate from the series, because in terms of like new patrons, I just think we need something separate.
My therapist says I need to take a break from
move
Jack
on. Yeah.
Wayland or...
Yeah. What happened last time? It was a long time ago, because I went to England, had a great time. Did they kiss, or am I... Yeah, they kissed, didn't they?
Uh-huh. Was that at the beach, or was it after the beach? Remember they went to their...
It was after the beach, yeah. As Megan said, a classic won't they or won't they story. Julissa says, how many chapters are left? Can we do 2 at a time until we finish? No, I'm sorry, but no.
If you think it's hard to watch, imagine reading.
Alina says, your girl boss energy is making me motivated to finish my theses right after this video.
Oh,
that
girl
is
boss,
the girl boss
get
energy
it.
we bring. Oh, but unfortunately, they were hit by a massive heat wave and spending time at the nudist beach became a higher priority than working on my thesis. Fair enough. We've all been there.
Girl grad, you get it.
I guess we'll see if she breaks up with her lawyer boyfriend, who for some reason she cannot break up with, despite there being no reason that she's with him.
How will they take on the American poverty mom complex together?
All right, chapter 10. Hope you're all doing well. Nice to be back. And can't wait for us to just spend some quality time together right now.
It's been a minute.
This was the day I was to accompany Brianna when she sang for her state council meeting. Also, are we just gonna have like another, like they already sang together. Why is this, does this have to be like another thing of like, ooh, I'm nervous, how's it gonna go? I was like, we already did this.
It's another thing of Jack literally not knowing what else to do.
And it's like the central conflict of the book is that she has this boyfriend, but then it's like completely flimsy why she's with him. It's not like his daddy's a big lawyer and he's offering me a job. It's literally just like, Sam, you're the best guy I've ever met. Sorry, I already promised Mark. And he just, I hate to let him down. What's his name?
It doesn't matter.
Thomas. Okay, anyway.
The little lawyer that could.
This is the day I was to accompany Brianna when she sang for her state council meeting. I woke up at 5:30 and couldn't get back to sleep. I lay in bed and stared at the clock, watching as each minute was first proudly displayed by my digital clock and then quietly discarded. Wow, such
That
poetry
is a
for
poetic reading of a digital watch.
Proudly at first and then quietly discarded.
Like you are insufferably pretentious.
Seriously. I had never been so conscious of time as I was now. Okay, let's see where this is going. Knowing that each day brought Brianna and me closer to the time when our summer would end and we would take our separate paths. Me to Utah and she eventually to Michigan to begin married life with Thomas.
Tick tock, a ticking time bomb.
With Thomas at the end. The thought of saying goodbye to Brianna was depressing enough.
Not a tom bomb, a ticking time tom bomb.
But on top of that, I dreaded coming to the end of my happy life working for my grandfather. Every day of work was like when a boy wakes up on his birthday and finds a brand new bike in the living room. Me when I got on Adderall.
Except it's me doing hard labor.
I loved fixing people's leaky faucets. I loved mowing lawns, perched on a new riding mower. And then afterwards, playing clumsy monster with the kids who lived there. With their mums. Watching me make a fool of myself, but afterwards thanking me for paying attention to their kids.
Play clumsy mums.
Sorry, I am not letting a random construction guy play clumsy monsters with my kids. Thank you very much. I loved living with my grandparents and learning more and more.
Oops. It's bad. Dad, I gotta go. The neighbor wants me to play clumsy monsters.
That just seems like a direct line. I hate to be sensitive.
After he has confessed
Clumsy
to being
monster.
attracted to high schoolers.
I'm assuming it's like, whoop!
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's
like,
an easy way to, that's a fucking pipeline if I've ever heard it.
What the hell?
I loved being with my grandparents and learning more and more about my first mum. I discovered that in many ways I was a lot like her. Stop saying that. When I would sometimes feel bad because I couldn't seem to measure up to my second mum's expectations, I would remind myself that it was okay. I was just being Charlie's boy.
You don't
Adam.
you don't have half the magnetism your mom had. No one's writing an anti-fanfic about you.
Dreading leaving Brianna was not my only concern. I got a sick feeling in my stomach when I thought about starting college. Now that I'd ruled out majoring in information systems, I didn't have any idea what to choose. I dreaded the idea of being confined to a classroom, having to study all the time, being bored out of my mind by the dry professors, and struggling to stay awake in the library. I also worried about what my folks would say when they realised how much I'd changed during the summer.
You've changed. Me after I got an education. My parents after I got an education.
Learn 1 single ounce of critical thinking.
Wow, going to the most conservative university in America really changed you.
I didn't feel like the same person who'd left Utah in June. Strangely enough, the one thing I didn't worry about anymore was the temptation to access internet pornography. Maybe it was the closeness I felt to my real mum.
Stop it.
So you're saying you used porn because you didn't feel close to your real mum? And the love I felt from my grandparents, or the time that I had been able to spend with Brianna, but the idea of watching that stuff no longer tempted me. You know what? Connection is the antidote to addiction, so good for him. My alarm
Not that he had one.
I mean, I guess if he was feeling compelled to do it when he actively did not want to do it.
Because it's the shame thing, right? It's the
Right,
don't focus on the
shame
painkiller.
creates like sort of an addictive pattern.
Exactly.
You know, things are addictive when they're off limits, blah, blah, blah. My alarm went off at 6, I showered and then got ready for church. At 7:15, I entered the Relief Society room in Newark, where I would accompany Brianna as she sang, Lord, I Would Follow Thee, for a state council meeting. She was sitting at the piano. She stood up to greet me. Good morning, she said. She seemed a little standoffish to me. It's because we kissed last night and she feels guilty about it, I thought. Good morning, I said, trying out the role of distant friend.
What was your name again?
Well, we'd better get started. Do you need to warm up? I sat down next to her on the piano bench. I already did. I think we can just go ahead and start.
Adam, how can we tinkle the ivories together knowing that last night our lips touched?
We practiced for 10 minutes until people began gathering in the room, and then we took our seats on the front row. The meeting began at 7:30. 7:30!
That is
To start
way
church.
the fuck too soon.
Fuck off.
Are they performing for a special gathering of bishops or something?
Sexy gathering. After the opening song and prayer, the stake president introduced Brianna. Before she began, she thanked me for being her accompanist.
That's just cruel to start a meeting at 7:30.
That's ridiculous, yeah. Because that means you, like, have to wake up at 5:30.
Yeah.
That is, like, cults being cults.
Oof.
It turned out all right. After we finished, we were warmly thanked and then excused. Okay, that was the big singing scene, was it? We ignore it. We walked out to the parking lot together.
They got their just desserts. They were warmly excused.
My grandparents would like you to have dinner with us after church today, I said. I'd better not, she said softly. I don't agree. I think you should.
I don't know what I might put in my mouth at dinner.
Why? My grandparents love you. Don't punish them just because I tried to kiss you last night. It wasn't just a try, Adam, and it wasn't just you. We actually kissed, and it was as much my fault as it was yours. So you feel guilty about it? Of course I feel guilty. That's
the worst part. I don't. And that makes me feel guilty.
Why? You're not engaged. No, but that's just a formality. Don't you think I owe a certain loyalty to the guy I'm planning on marrying? I forget, this is like a very traditional type of dating, you know, where until you're engaged, it's just kind of a free-for-all because nothing is real until engaged. You know what I mean? Like, right. the concept of, like, boyfriend and girlfriend isn't really, like, it's almost, like, sinful to dally too long in that space. You're right. What happened last night was all my fault, I said. No, it wasn't. That's the problem. I don't know what's happening to me. I've always been able to set a course in life and move toward it. And now, I don't know. I can't seem to focus on what I need to do. I really hate to see you feeling guilty. Look, I can do better. Let's just be friends while I'm here. I'll be leaving the 21st of August. It will be here before we know it. Let's just keep seeing each other until I go.
It's just hitting that, everything you just said is like sinking in more, just like how Mormons don't understand consent and like have these arbitrary limitations on certain types of relationships and then totally devalue other ones, which is why other people's relationships aren't valid unless they're eternally married or married at all. It's like you can be together for 20 years and it's like, your guys' relationship just isn't as real as mine, so...
As mine that I have been in for 1 year and met them like 6 months before that, and... We'll have to be very careful. We will, I promise. It sounds like a sexy premise, doesn't it? She sighed. All right, we'll try and see how it goes. I feel like they've tried. That's what they've been doing this whole time, and it hasn't been working out too well for them.
And you always think, we'll just not. And then you do.
Brianna's block meeting let out the same time as my grandparents' ward, but she had father to drive, so we beat her to the house.
I have father to drive.
She showed up a half hour later. Once again, she and I were assigned to make a salad, but this time there was no water fight. We were working on decorum that day. Brianna and I offered to do the dishes. At first, Grandma Claire protested, but we told her we were fine and that she and Eddie could just relax.
Huge mistake. You thought, avoid the water fight, go to the dishwashing.
Decorum, you're asking
everybody knows that dishwashing is fun and hot, right?
He finally convinced her to let us clean up, and they went upstairs to their room, probably for another nap.
Probably a nap. Maybe they're doing a little tiramisu on the side. They're not as righteous as we think.
After doing the dishes and putting things away, Brianna and I sat across from each other at the kitchen table and read the scriptures.
It's very sexy.
When we came to a passage we especially liked, we would read it out loud and then talk about it. It was a great feeling to be reading the scriptures with Brianna. It felt safe and comfortable, being together in that way. But it made me also think about how quickly the summer was going. I said to her, I woke up early this morning and couldn't sleep, thinking about how little time we have left. It's over a month. That's true. When I woke up this morning, I felt so guilty about what we did last night. Did you? Not really, I said. I'm not being funny, but like it is more appropriate for her to be guilty than him. She's the one who owes loyalty to Thomas, not what's his name? Adam.
Jacob?
Have you ever felt guilty for something you did wrong? She asked.
Me? Never once. Never done something wrong.
Well, yeah, that's what Mormons do. Feel guilty.
Ooh, I know. Little insight there.
Glad that Jack knows that. She laughed, but then asked, so what did you do about it? I went to my bishop and talked to him. What did he say? Oh my God, is he about to confess his porn addiction? He worked with me, and now it's taken care of. Her eyebrows raised at the word now, but she didn't say anything. That's what happened to me, she said. It was in high school. But even though it's taken care of, you like have sex and it's like, it's been taken care of. Once in a while, I still feel guilty. No need to. You're right. I paused. We're not going to tell each other what it was, are we? I asked. No, we're not. Good. I don't really care what yours was. Me neither. That is kind of the thing, isn't it? Like, once you've sinned, you don't tell them because that could, you know...
It didn't happen. I mean, that was part of what kept me on the straight and narrow is, like, I never want to have to disclose anything to anyone.
To your dad, the bishop.
Oh, no. Had that, I mean in marriage.
Oh, got it. And then we talked... after that, we shared scriptures that deal with repentance and forgiveness. Sorry, you're still feeling guilty for something you did in high school. That's sad.
Something's...
As an adult lawyer who's gone on a mission, like, it's really...
I mean, this is how, like, I know so many Mormons who now whenever something bad happens in their life, they're not fulfilled in being a housewife, and with 8 kids, they're like, whoa, this is actually a lot. It must be because I sinned in high school, and I'm just
I've
reaping the benefit.
literally heard that from a friend.
Oh, yeah. Multiple friends.
And then we talked about the Savior. We both felt the Spirit. It felt good. So good. Look at the way he's, like, done these on separate lines. So cute. Thomas and I never talk about things like this. He never seems to have the time to just talk. Oh, but he sure writes some wordy emails from what we've heard. He's got time for that.
He does a lot of emailing, so...
He's always going a mile a minute. He'll slow down once he's passed his bar exam. She put her elbows on the table and rested her chin in her hands. She sighed and said, I don't think he'll ever slow down. You just have to tell him what you want. A woman telling a man to slow down in his work. No. Good luck. Maybe so. She closed her scriptures and stood up. I need to go. Thomas said he'd call me later today, so I'd better be there. She headed for the door. Don't bother to see me to my car. I'll call you tomorrow. Maybe we can work out at the club again. That'd be great. I've missed Chantil. That's kind of a funny line for Adam. Oh, God. When my grandparents got up from their nap, they felt badly that Brianna had left.
I love that they just have regularly scheduled naps when company's around. Like, invite people to dinner and then like, actually, we need a snooze.
Well, maybe it's just as well, my grandmother said. We need to talk. We think you need to tell Brianna how you feel about her, my grandmother said. How do I feel about her? You're madly in love with her, my grandfather said.
Wow, don't gaslight my girl boss, Grandma.
I love the idea of these grandparents just like, you need to tell her you love her, boy. I am. Thanks for telling me. You are, and you need to tell her. What for? She's practically engaged. Maybe she'd have second thoughts if she knew how you feel, my grandmother said. There's that restaurant with the cliff divers, my grandfather said. They put on a real good show. Why don't you take her there?
They used to have that in Salt Lake City.
Really?
The Mayan.
I'd love to go to a place like that.
I've heard great things.
She might like that, my grandmother said. And so, against my better judgment, on Friday, I took Brianna to the Mexican restaurant my grandparents had recommended. The restaurant was 3 stories high. Sorry, you're what, going to a novelty restaurant with a person and they're nearly engaged?
Yeah, right.
Fuck that. Intimate food bonding experiences, I don't like it.
Doing fitness together. We all read Come As You Are and know that exercising is one of the best ways to
We all
stimulate
did,
sexual
Jack.
desire. Come on.
The restaurant was 3 stories high, with tables situated on little balconies where customers could get a good view of the divers. I had carefully worked out what I was going to say. I want a Nathan Fielder episode of The Rehearsal based around this. Even writing it up beforehand and practicing it in front of a mirror. But I pictured a quiet table where I would softly say, Brianna, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the time we've spent together. My grandparents love you, and I've grown to care about you a great deal as well. If things don't work out between you and Thomas, please remember that I'm here for you. And then I would reach out, hold her hand, and give her a rose. Beautiful, beautiful. But once we arrived at the restaurant, the reality of the situation was much different than I had imagined. Our table was next to a waterfall that was so noisy we could barely hear each other. What with the noise of the falling water and the music blaring during each show, it was hard to even carry on a conversation. In addition, someone in a fake monkey suit was perched on an artificial rock ledge just a few feet from where we were sitting.
Excuse me?
And the monkey kept staring at us.
That is a winning restaurant strategy, something that they really learned.
What did you think you were signing up for?
Yeah, we got a monkey guy. He's just gonna look at you while you eat. You got a problem with that?
You don't go to that kind of place to have like a quiet conversation.
This is what he knew. He was like, this is gonna be a totally unromantic setting. That's why he went there.
After one of the shows, and before we'd been served our food, I saw my chance. Brianna, there's something I need to tell you, I yelled above the noise of the waterfall and background music. What? The reason I brought you to this restaurant is... What? Restaurant? Restrooms? She yelled. This is so Jack. This could not be more. I have no idea where they are either, but if I have many more glasses of lemonade, I'm going to need one pretty soon too. I leaned closer. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the time we've spent together. The monkey jumped down from his perch and started towards us. I stood up and faced him.
I hope he acts like a real monkey and steals her wallet or something, snatches some food and runs off.
I love this. I stood up and faced him. Get out of here, I shouted. The monkey stood and waved its arms at me. You stupid monkey, go away. The monkey shrugged his shoulders and left to go harass some other diners.
Imagine you're on a date.
You stupid monkey, go away.
At a restaurant where there is an adult human in a monkey costume on display, just staring at you, and your date's reaction, a grown-ass adult, is to get up and yell.
Shoo! Scram! Buzz off!
He thinks it's a real monkey.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think he knows? I sat
He's
down.
from Utah. He doesn't know what's out there in the big city.
Brianna's on the same page as us. I sat down again. I'm sorry that I had to yell at the monkey in front of you. It's not a real monkey. What? I hollered. It's not a real monkey. I know that. I didn't know if you did or not, she yelled back. She's like, why would you talk to another human being that way? A guy about my age wearing red slacks and a pink flowery shirt approached us. Hello, folks. How's it going? Hey, guess what? I'm the balloon man. Would you like me to make a balloon hat for each of you?
Is this just a circus-themed
He
restaurant?
loves balloon comedy.
He loves it.
This is not the first balloon man we've had in the Jack Wayland
Oh, we
fiction.
know that Jack is clowncore through and through.
Through and fucking through. Okay, let me just deal with this.
He's always gonna have a silly stringer, a balloon slinger.
Proud clinger of his buddies.
Our Sarah Palin acceptance or Donald Trump endorsement speech slam poem is probably it might be my favorite thing we've ever created, and will just live as an unsung treasure. It's just for us. Deep tracks. Precious lad, tiny boy, he knows what it's like to be an orphan.
No, go away. Okay, we're already seeing the male protagonist being rude to service workers yet again.
Another fun Jack Wayland habit.
No, go away, I complained, and tell everyone else to quit bothering us. He's just trying to do his job. You came to a fucking diving circus restaurant. Like, what did you expect?
He thought it was
He's like, I thought this would be a good place to come and get some peace and quiet. It's like...
I thought it was a diner, drive-in, dive-in, or whatever. I didn't realize it was a circus act. Tell all your little circus freaks.
What about you, pretty lady? Have you seen any of the balloon hats I've made for some of our guests? Women, they love a balloon hat. No, I haven't actually. Well, come, let me show you. Brianna went to the ledge with Balloon Man. It's now
They're like
Thomas and
summoning
Balloon
people
Man that you're up against.
away from the table. Everyone knows the restaurant
Come
job
on,
is
come
moving
and see
people
my
through
hats.
tables as quick as you can, not like taking them on side quests.
In pointing out hats he'd made for others, he put his hand around her waist and drew her in closer to him.
Whoa!
Huge overstep on Balloon Man's side. Benny,
But
please.
she's kind of into it. She likes a straightforward,
I
domineering
really want
guy.
her to not go with Thomas or Adam and go with Balloon Man.
She's like, you're really good with rubber.
We don't want any
Latex.
stupid hats, I shouted at him. I'd like that one, Brianna said. He kissed her on the hand. My pleasure, senorita. Okay, so are we supposed to believe at this Mexican restaurant the Balloon Man is like a pervert Mexican man?
I think he is probably 58, 65 years old, in between there, has a 3-day-old shave on, and smells of tuna and nibs
Oh my god, stop.
and beer, and has got totally drunk before his job.
And who can blame him?
And he's just like, hey, senorita.
A few minutes later, she was wearing the most ridiculous hat I'd ever seen. I couldn't look at her without wanting to laugh. An orange balloon encircled her head, and there was this like prim sister missionary that is like a lawyer and has to control everything and is like, I will have that balloon hat.
99 balloon hats
Also, remember when she said
in the restaurant that I'm at.
do you remember when she said that Adam was the nicest guy she'd ever met? And he is always rude to service workers. The monkey, just doing his job. The balloon
Monkeying
man,
around.
he's kind of sus. But at the point where you were mean to him, he hadn't been, so... An orange balloon encircled her head, and there was a green balloon flower stem coming out of the top of her head, and a red balloon fake flower that bobbed on the stem whenever she moved her head. The good thing was that after the balloon man made the hat, he went away. That was
is the good news.
That's how you want him.
The upside is he did leave.
And the hat was cool. There was also a momentary lull in the diving and the loud music that went along with it. Stupid hat or not, this was my chance. It was the quietest it had been since we got there. I spit out the words as fast as I could. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the time we've spent together. My grandparents love you and I've grown to care a great deal about you too.
Nathan's over there. This is not how we rehearsed.
What did you say? The announcer's voice suddenly drowned out all other noise. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening. And now for the best diving show in New Jersey. I stood up and walked to the ledge. Turn down the volume. It's so loud in here I can't hear myself think, I shouted. Apparently the divers did not appreciate me complaining. The first diver dove close enough so that the splash from his dive drenched me. I'm soaked through.
That is some classic Jack Whaling comedy right there. I knew it was going to be a splash. He's like, and could your hot divers and their speedos get out of here? Why do they gotta look so hot? Can't you see I'm trying to woo my best friend? The only friend I have?
The monkey made the mistake of laughing. Oh my god. I went over and shook his little monkey shoulders. I want to talk to the manager.
He just accosted a human being.
This monkey is innocent.
Just because a person is in a monkey suit.
Doing his job, performing as a monkey in a rrestaurant that you chose to come to for the concept of the restaurant.
That's assault. He just assaulted a monkey
Don't
person.
Don't touch the monkey.
You could get monkeypox. So sorry. Too soon.
I am the manager. You're a monkey, for crying out loud. How can you be the manager? Okay, I'm not the manager, but he's my uncle. Whatever. Look, I need it quiet so I can ask your girlfriend to marry you, the monkey asked, his voice sounding hollow inside his fake monkey head.
This is
something
so
like that.
Dumb.
Okay,
I need to walk away from this.
This is a key
This
plot
is
point,
not my
Tana.
circus,
This is
not
a
my
key
monkeys.
plot point. So he said, ask your girlfriend to marry you, and then Adam says something like that. I can make an engagement hat for both of you, Balloon Man said. Get out of here and leave us alone. After you've approached him and shook him on the shoulders, because he's apparently responsible for the music. Balloon Man looked very disappointed, and the monkey looked, well, like a monkey, but they did leave. I sat next to Brianna while she watched the diving show. As soon as it was over, I leaned close to her so she'd be able to hear me.
At this point, the police are on their way, right?
I would hope
That's
so.
the subtext?
Even so, I had to speak real loud. Brianna, there's something I need to tell you, I faintly shouted. As she turned to face me, her extended balloon flower bopped me in the nose. She started to giggle. Sorry! And then 2 waiters brought us our food. Just my luck, hers was on fire. That's it, I give up, I complained. I hunched over my food and ate it as fast as I could. I just wanted to be out of the place. You okay? Brianna asked.
Sorry, what?
You came here for this.
Her food was on fire? Was it one of those flaming dishes?
Yeah, it was like just something like that.
And that was to top it all off?
Yeah, just his luck. The food was on fire.
Oh, God.
Because Jack loves fire, water, balloons.
Earth, wind,
he does all the elements of chaos.
He's like the Avatar of literature.
Yeah. Great, just great, I muttered, with my mouth full of food. There's something I need to tell you, Adam, she said, raising her voice. Is it something serious, I yelled. Yes. Then take off that stupid balloon hat. She removed the hat. Thomas called me last night, she shouted. What did he say? He told me he thought I was spending way too much time with you.
Alan.
I figured she was about to tell me she couldn't see me anymore. So, wanting to take her home as quickly as possible, I took another huge bite of food. She looked at me in shock. I can't believe you can get so much food in your mouth in one bite. With my cheeks bulging, I could only scowl at her. Do you want to know what I told him? I meant to say, sure, why not, but I'm sure she couldn't understand a word I said. I broke up with Thomas last night, she said. Huh? I realised I didn't love him enough to marry him. Adam, I know you're going back to Utah, so this is really bad timing, but the truth is I think I'm in love with you. It just sort of snuck up on me. One moment we were friends, and then all of a sudden, bam, yeah, all of a sudden. That's exactly how it was. Bam, there it was. Shredded meat is very hard to chew up in a hurry, especially half a pound of it. It seemed to take forever. Take your time. We're in no hurry, she said.
Before he can answer, he's just like...
Because he took it's classic slapstick, he took a massive bite of food. Because he was like, as soon as she said her news, he was like, well, better get out of it as soon as possible. Take your time, we're in no hurry. Finally, I finished. I was going to tell you the same thing. She got a silly grin on her face. You broke up with Thomas too, she yelled.
Nice.
No, not that part. The part about being in love. So that means that you and I... She began. The monkey was back. Brianna stood up and waved her hands. Get out of here, you stupid monkey. You cannot abuse the monkey just because it is a monkey.
I love that she sat through that whole display and then was like, I'm in love with you. That was like more red flags than you see in the Red Army.
Well, she's cut from the same cloth because she's abusing the monkey now too. Monkey's right. Why is he working in this restaurant? The monkey scurried away.
Just like, this is my job. I get harassed and harangued and sometimes assaulted. They're like, the customers, they can hit.
They can hit. They can shake shoulders and you still have to make them an engagement balloon. Thank you, I said, mouthing the words so she could read my lips. No problem. She reached for my hand and leaned close to my ear. I'm not sure what just happened here. You mean with the monkey, I asked? No, not the monkey. I mean the part about us being in love. I know. That's new ground for both of us, isn't it? I said. It is, for sure. What are we talking about here? I asked. Sorry I had to say it so loudly. I don't know. I haven't dared think that far ahead. Unfortunately, the monkey was onto us. Engagement time! He shrieked. Waiters came running toward us and put Mayan headpieces on us and joined in a happy engagement chant.
Oh.
Do people get engaged at this restaurant a lot?
This is dumb as shit. This is literally Jack writing about the only restaurant he's been to in the big city of Salt Lake City,
That's
where
so
there is a restaurant called the
cute.
Mayan where they do that.
But they're
and
in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's because it's like vaguely Book of Mormon.
I wish we could go to that restaurant.
I know.
Waiters came running. And then they shook our hands and took our pictures and brought us a free dessert. Yeah, but like, wouldn't they come out like after he'd proposed? Like, what did they do? The engagement didn't happen. He didn't like ask her.
No.
So you can't do it just like now.
No.
5 minutes later, another show began. Let's make a run for it while we can, Brianna shouted at me. We barely managed to escape. I drove Brianna to her apartment, where we both sat on the front steps and talked until we were both too tired to say another word. I walked her to her door. We kissed a couple of times, and then she pushed me away. Now that we're in new territory, I'm booting you out of here, she said. Notwithstanding the disaster of the restaurant, I drove home a very happy guy.
Oh my god.
Lovely chapter.
Ah!
Other than the monkey abuse, I thought that was all right.
Again, human abuse.
Well, you know.
Wow, that was a classic Jack Wayland
It really
chapter.
was. It
Honestly,
really was.
I would put that up there in one of his like top 5
Yeah.
of absolute bedlam, hijinks, a real mess.
Yeah. I just can't believe we've met. He's abused him and his dad have both abused a balloon guy in the franchise.
And he's like, I'm so much like my mom.
I know!
Like, you are so much like Jack Wayland.
But actually, do you think Jack didn't even cross my mind. Do you think Jack did the balloon thing on purpose? Because you remember when Charlie was like, we should get the kid a balloon. And this girl
It's an
also was like,
illusion.
girls just love balloons in the Jack Wayland universe. They always want the balloons.
If all the girls in the Jack Wayland universe love balloons, it's because the Jack Wayland universe loves balloons.
Yeah.
Just there's like a whole constellation in his neural universe, in
Yes.
his neural
Yes,
star
yes.
space,
Yes!
dedicated entirely to balloon animals and clowning generally. I can't wait for their son to learn juggling.
Well, thank you all for being here. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time, I think, that chapter.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.